What do you mean you were too young to watch Hunter back in the 80s? Well, I'm afraid I wasn't, and I did. And this is the car. Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at the Dodge Monaco / Plymouth Fury from the late 70s, which in game is represented by the Bravado Greenwood. Customised like this car represents the Dodge Monaco driven by Rick Hunter in the TV show Hunter. Now, the TV show was so long ago and so memorable, I can't tell you anything about it apart from the car. It started off dark green, but as the seasons of the show progressed, it ended up more and more ratty, and I remember it also as a sort of beige colour with different coloured panels on it. Of course, to keep Rockstar from being sued, there are some detail changes on the car, and there's something that doesn't look quite right to me around the wheel department, certainly. I think they're a bit too far out, and I think maybe even the size is slightly wrong. There's a few other minor changes, the most noticeable being the black strip that you have to have on the front bumper if you want chrome. Now, I expect a late 70s massive car like this to roll around on its suspension, to lean forward when it's braking, etc., because that's what I saw them do on the television. And in fact, that's exactly what this car does. Not hugely fast and very roly-poly, and quite easy for it to fall into oversteer. In other words, it drives exactly like the car that it represents. There's a reasonable level of customization on this car. I see they've put enough in there to make a lowrider, a few sort of custom variants of the car. You can add some splitters, some spoilers, stuff like that. However, for me, as a fan of real cars in GTA, there's a little bit of a problem, which is that I can't find anything really cool to do with this car, apart from to make a car that I'm probably the only person watching this that can even remember being a star on the TV. If you can think of anything, please do put it down in the comments for other people. GTA Online for me has morphed pretty much into a solo experience, but even if you do play in public lobbies and therefore really value the Imani tech, I don't see why you would fit it to this car when you could fit it to something like the Omnis GT, which would give you a far better experience. Onward then to the hot lap. How does this car drive? Well, we've touched on some of it already. The car does lean a lot, and it's very noticeable on the lap when every time you come to brake the nose dips way down into the tarmac. And there's quite a bit of oversteer, as you saw there. Some of my laps were too slow because the oversteer was too much, and I did a glorious slide, but it wasted too much time. Acceleration is pretty decent, and in fact, if you can settle the car into a corner without sliding, it does corner pretty well. And as you saw on the sidewalk / pavements we've just been going over, it deals with the bumps very well. So perfectly pleasant to drive around the lap, but in no way class leading. The class in this case is the muscle car class, and to give you an example, an upcoming review is the Dominator GTT, and that cracked the lap in just under a minute, so no way competitive. I will admit I only put a stage 4 engine on the car, but even so it's not going to get near the top of the pack. I've already mentioned that there's plenty of customization available for this car. I'm not giving the build written down for this one because it's very simple. It's just a classic rod wheels painted black, some dark green paint, and I went one stage lower with suspension. And finally, the license plate, where you want to go yellow on blue, and you could optionally select to have this custom number to be bang on. I don't have room in any of my collections for this car. I bought it really just for the review because it's on sale this week, so if nothing else, can I please have a sympathy like just for doing that, or indeed if you're enjoying the review. As I set myself up here for an epic fail on this corner, it's time to rate the car. For looks, I'm going to give the car 4 stars. I've taken off a point because there's something that's just not quite right about the way it looks. I think it's to do with the wheels, as mentioned, but I think there may be some overall slight proportions that are just out enough to make it a little weird. Back in the day in the UK, we would have called this car a yank tank. Now, I don't mean that to be in any offensive way, but it is a big roly-poly car. That's how it drives. Now, that's not that great really, so 3 stars for the driving. However, if you want to roleplay and replicate driving around a big old roly 1970s car, well, you would rate it somewhat higher. I used 10% off from the car meet plus 30% off on sale. Got the car for a little under 700,000, and at that, it's not too bad a value for money, but of course it does normally go for over $1 million. And we are a little bit stuck for real world uses for the car. It's really this one, or paint it black and call it a cop car. Hunter's car had a beige interior, and I wanted a beige interior, but you can't have one of those either. You can only change the stitching on the seats. Taking all this together, I think that for fans of real cars in GTA, probably only about a 3-star value. So 4, 3 and 3 on the star ratings, not that great. Sorry for the Bravado Greenwood. I'm also not very sure where I'm going to keep it or if I'm going to keep it. So there we go, not particularly a recommended car from me. I do hope you enjoyed the video, hope you found it useful. Please let me know down below what you think of the Greenwood. And as always, I thank you so much for watching.